Hi, today we're talking about confidentiality and our limits for confidentiality. So confidentiality is the cornerstone of what we do. Without it, I don't see any reason why people would even come to us, right? They want to know that they have a safe place, a judgment-free place, a confidential place to come and really share their deepest and darkest thoughts, emotions, secrets, whatever it might be. So this is the reason why therapy works. So confidentiality, not only is it a legal and an ethical requirement, it is just incredibly important for progress and for the client to trust that they do have full confidentiality. So this also includes confidentiality within the documentation, which I'm going to discuss in detail in the upcoming episodes. Also, you want to make sure you have a release of information anytime you write a letter or send documentation on behalf of a client, write a letter for a client, or fill out anything for a client, or talk to another provider, or talk to anybody on the client's behalf. Make sure you have that release of information. The client has to give you permission to release their information or to speak to somebody. And even then, you want to consult with the client first and make sure what information is to be released, right? Because it's not just a blanket, you can release everything that I've shared with you. So make sure you do that. And this applies even with couples and family counseling, which we're also going to get into in detail in the next episodes. This also includes if you are being subpoenaed, right? Now, this is kind of a touchy touchy topic, and I do recommend consulting if you're a member of the American Psychological Association or a state local psychology association. I recommend getting legal counsel from them because I have been subpoenaed in the past, asked the client if I had permission to release their documents, and they said no. So I had to appeal the subpoena, right? Because we want to avoid at all costs releasing information without the client's consent. And so I wrote up an appeal and submitted that to the court, explaining that I did not have permission from the client to submit it. Now, the judge could override that and still demand that we submit the documentation even without the client's approval. But you want to try to prevent that at all costs. So in my cases, whenever I've done that, it has been accepted, and the subpoena was dismissed by the court. So let's talk about our limits to confidentiality. We can only break confidentiality when we believe the client is a danger to themselves or others, or if there's abuse or neglect to a minor, dependent adult, or an elderly person. So although we don't have to have actual proof or evidence of this, we do need to have reasonable suspicion. And remember, since confidentiality is the cornerstone of what we do, we want to really protect that at all costs. And we do want to at least do our due diligence and have that reasonable suspicion. So we are going to talk about that in more detail coming up in the next few episodes, especially with how we handle confidentiality with minors and with couples and families, which can get a little sticky at times. So talking about the confidentiality between the clients, not our confidentiality. So our confidentiality always remains the same. So, and it's also legal and requirement to include our limits of confidentiality in our informed consent, right? Our informed consent is a form that the clients agree to and sign as part of the intake paperwork, which is basically just a list of kind of policies, procedures, our legal and ethical requirements, what to expect in therapy, what their rights are, things like that. And so, and this has to be signed in order to pursue and continue on with therapy. So, okay, so stay with me. We're going to get to this in more detail in the next episodes.